Welcome to Annie Podcast. In this first part, we are not going to talk about attraction as something external, performative, or technical. We are not discussing techniques, lines, or behaviors you use on others. Instead, we are beginning at the only place attraction truly exists, inside the emotional experience you create around you. One of the deepest truths in human psychology is this: people do not fall in love with how impressive you are. They fall in love with how they feel when they are with you. Long after they forget what you wore, what you said, or what you achieved, they remember the emotional state they entered in your presence. There is a lyric often quoted in discussions of attraction: "I like me better when I'm with you." This sentence captures the core of emotional magnetism. If someone feels calmer, more confident, more interesting, or more alive around you, they will naturally want to return to that feeling. This is why attraction is not built by showing off your value, but by reflecting value back to the other person. When you listen attentively, acknowledge their thoughts, and make them feel seen, you allow them to experience the best version of themselves, and that experience becomes associated with you. However, emotional resonance alone is not enough. If attraction were only about warmth and openness, then excessive availability would be irresistible. But in reality, it often has the opposite effect. This is where mystery enters the equation. Human psychology is drawn to what is not fully known. When something is completely obvious, predictable, or constantly accessible, the nervous system stops engaging. Curiosity fades, desire weakens. Attraction needs space to breathe. This does not mean playing games or pretending to be distant. It means understanding that intimacy develops best when it is layered, not flooded. Oversharing too early, texting constantly, or emotionally dumping everything at once can overwhelm rather than connect. Attraction lives in balance between warmth and restraint, openness and privacy, confidence and humility. When you are emotionally present but not emotionally dependent, people feel safe and curious at the same time. A critical element of this balance is having a life of your own. If your entire world revolves around one person, if you are available at all hours, replying instantly, adjusting your schedule completely, you unconsciously communicate that your life lacks structure and purpose. High-value individuals are not scarce because they play hard to get. They are scarce because they are genuinely busy building themselves. They have interests, routines, goals, and inner worlds that do not disappear when someone new enters their life. This is why the sources emphasize not sharing everything through text. Messages are flat. They strip emotion, tone, and presence. Saving your stories for real-life encounters allows your energy, expressions, and silence to do the work. When you invest in your own growth, physically, intellectually, emotionally, attraction becomes a side effect, not a goal. You stop chasing interest and start generating it. Self-sufficiency is not coldness, it is stability, and stability is deeply attractive in a world full of emotional chaos. At the end of the day, attraction is not something you do, it's something you embody. It begins with how you relate to yourself, and it radiates outward without force. In this second part of Annie Podcast, we move from the internal foundation into something subtle but incredibly powerful: presence. In a world that is constantly distracted, rushed, and fragmented, genuine presence has become rare, and rarity creates attraction. Presence is not just about physically being in the same room. It is about where your attention lives. You can sit across from someone and still be completely absent if your mind is elsewhere. and people can feel that absence immediately, even if they cannot explain it logically. One of the most unattractive behaviors mentioned in the sources is performative busyness. Checking your phone repeatedly, replying to messages mid-conversation, or subtly signaling that you have more important things to attend to. While some believe this creates status, it actually communicates disinterest and insecurity. When you give someone your full attention, you send a powerful, unspoken message. You matter in this moment. This message touches something very deep in the human nervous system, the need to feel seen and prioritized. This is why the sources strongly suggest putting your phone away during meaningful interactions. Not on the table, not face down, out of sight. Silence notifications if possible. Presence is not something you can multitask. Alongside presence comes the gift of listening, a skill far more rare than speaking well. Most people listen only to respond, to impress, or to redirect the conversation back to themselves. True listening, however, has a different energy. When you listen deeply, you are not waiting for your turn to talk. You are not planning your next sentence. You are simply receiving the other person's inner world without judgment or interruption. This kind of listening creates safety, and safety is the foundation of all genuine connection. When people feel safe, they reveal more, not because they are trying to impress you, but because they feel understood. The sources mention subtle physical cues that enhance listening, maintaining soft eye contact, slightly tilting your head, nodding gently, and using short affirmations like, "I see," "That makes sense," or "Tell me more." These are not tricks, they are signals of genuine engagement. Interestingly, the less you talk about yourself, the more interesting you become. This seems counterintuitive, but psychology supports it. People associate good feelings with the person who allowed them to express themselves fully. Listening is also a filter. Through how someone speaks about their life, their struggles, and other people, you learn far more about their character through any self-description. Presence allows you to observe without rushing. A person who constantly interrupts, redirects, or minimizes others' experiences reveals insecurity and a need for validation. A person who listens calmly reveals inner stability, and stability is magnetic. Presence also means emotional regulation. If you overreact, overshare, or flood conversations with intensity, you create pressure. Calm presence, on the other hand, allows connection to unfold naturally. People are drawn to those who make them feel relaxed, not examined, heard, not evaluated, accepted, not managed. In a loud world, presence is quiet power. In a distracted society, listening is leadership. And in human connection, those who can truly be present will always stand out without trying. In this third part, we move into something people often misunderstand: physical presence. Not beauty, not perfection, not trying to look impressive, but how your body carries your inner state and how others subconsciously respond to it. Most people think attraction is created by adding something: better clothes, louder confidence, sharper words. But real presence is created by subtraction, removing tension, removing rush, removing the need to prove. Your body is always speaking, even when you are silent. Your posture, your breathing, the speed of your movements, the stillness between gestures. People read these signals faster than words because the nervous system recognizes safety or threat instantly. Someone who moves too fast, gestures excessively, or constantly adjusts their body often communicates anxiety, even if their words sound confident. Meanwhile, someone who moves slowly and deliberately often appears grounded and trustworthy. This is why calm bodies feel powerful, not dominant, not aggressive, just calm. Calm bodies tell others nothing here is out of control, and humans are drawn to that signal instinctively. One of the most overlooked aspects of physical presence is breathing. Shallow, rapid breathing keeps your nervous system in a state of alert. Slow, deep breathing sends a message of safety, not only to yourself, but to everyone around you. Before entering any important interaction, simply slowing your breath can completely change how you are perceived. You speak slower, you move less, you react less, and suddenly people lean in. Stillness is another underestimated form of presence. Many people feel uncomfortable with stillness, so they fill silence with movement, words, or nervous laughter. But stillness, when relaxed, creates gravity. Think about people you find magnetic. Often they don't do much. They don't rush to respond. They allow pauses. They don't compete for attention. Attention naturally comes to them. Posture also plays a crucial role. A collapsed posture communicates defeat or self-protection. An overly rigid posture communicates defense. But an upright, relaxed posture communicates quiet confidence. This doesn't mean forcing your shoulders back unnaturally. It means allowing your body to stack naturally. Head balanced, chest open, spine supported. When your body feels supported, your voice follows. Voice is part of physical presence too, not volume, but tone. People with grounded presence often speak from lower, steadier tones, not because they try to sound authoritative, but because their breath supports their voice. When you rush your words, you signal urgency and lack of control. When you slow down, you signal choice. Silence between sentences gives weight to what you say. Physical presence is also about boundaries. Standing too close, touching excessively, or invading personal space can feel overwhelming. Respecting space communicates awareness and emotional intelligence. There is also an energetic layer that people sense but rarely name. When someone is desperate for approval, their body leans forward energetically. When someone is centered, their energy feels contained. This doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means being complete within yourself. You are not reaching out to fill a gap. You are inviting others into a space that already exists. Clothing and appearance matter only insofar as they align with your inner state. Clothes that restrict your breathing, movement, or comfort create incongruence. Simplicity often amplifies presence. People sense when you are at ease in your body. That ease is contagious. It tells others they don't need to perform either. Ultimately, physical presence is not about being noticed. It is about being felt. And those who are felt deeply are remembered long after they leave the room. In this fourth part, we arrive at one of the most misunderstood principles of attraction: emotional restraint. Not emotional coldness, not indifference, but the ability to feel deeply without being controlled by what you feel. Many people believe attraction comes from intensity, strong emotions, fast bonding, constant reassurance. But intensity without grounding often creates pressure, and pressure suffocates desire. Emotional restraint is what allows attraction to breathe. It creates space, and space is where curiosity, longing, and imagination live. When someone feels everything but reacts to nothing, they carry an unusual gravity, not because they are withholding, but because they are not leaking their inner world uncontrollably. Most emotional pain in attraction does not come from loving too much, it comes from needing too much. needing responses, needing certainty, needing validation. Neediness is felt before it is seen. It shows up in subtle ways, checking your phone repeatedly, over-explaining yourself, adjusting your personality to be liked, abandoning your own rhythm to match someone else's pace. Emotional restraint begins with the understanding that your worth does not rise or fall based on someone's response to you. Their interest is information, not a verdict on your value. When you truly internalize this, your behavior changes naturally. You stop chasing clarity prematurely. You allow things to unfold. You respond instead of react. One of the most attractive emotional signals is non-attachment, not because you don't care, but because you care without gripping. Non-attachment communicates abundance. It says, I enjoy you, but I am not incomplete without you. That message is deeply stabilizing. Emotional restraint also shows up in how you handle uncertainty. Instead of interrogating silence, you respect it. Instead of filling gaps, you let them exist. Silence is not rejection. Often it is simply life happening. Those who panic in silence reveal insecurity. Those who remain centered reveal strength. Emotional restraint does not mean suppressing feelings. It means allowing emotions to move through you without turning them into actions that compromise your dignity. There is dignity in choosing not to send that message, in waiting before responding, in letting emotions settle before speaking. People with emotional restraint are often mistaken as mysterious. In truth, they are simply not broadcasting every internal fluctuation. This restraint creates safety. Others feel they can relax around you because you are not emotionally volatile. You are steady, predictable in your integrity, not in your availability. Another aspect of emotional power is how you handle disappointment. Not everything will go the way you hope. Attraction deepens when disappointment does not turn into bitterness. When you can accept outcomes without collapsing or hardening, you show emotional maturity, and maturity is magnetic. Emotional restraint also protects you. It keeps you from over-investing too early, from projecting fantasies onto people who have not earned that depth. True connection grows slowly. It reveals itself over time, through consistency, not intensity. When you embody emotional restraint, you stop trying to be chosen and instead become someone who chooses. And paradoxically, this is when attraction feels effortless, because it is no longer driven by fear, but by alignment. Emotional restraint is not a technique, it is a byproduct of inner security, and inner security is built through self-trust, self-respect, and a life that feels whole with or without an audience. When you no longer cling, you no longer chase, and when you no longer chase, something shifts. People feel it, they lean in. This is the quiet power of emotional restraint. Not loud, not dramatic, but unforgettable. As we come to the final part of this Annie podcast, there is nothing new to add, only something important to integrate. Attraction, in its truest form, is not something you do, it is something you become. Everything we explored in this episode, emotional presence, restraint, authenticity, inner security, they are not strategies, they are states of being. When you stop trying to manage how others see you, something softens inside, and paradoxically, that softness creates strength. You no longer need to perform attraction. You no longer need to convince, impress, or hold tightly. You simply show up as someone who is at ease with themselves, and ease is contagious. True attraction happens when people feel emotionally safe around you, not excited, not anxious, safe. Safe enough to be quiet, safe enough to be imperfect, safe enough to not perform either. When someone feels safe with you, they begin to reveal who they are, slowly, naturally, without fear of judgment. And that is where real connection lives, not in intensity, but in trust. Integration means you no longer separate who you are alone from who you are with others. The same calm, grounded presence exists in both spaces. You don't abandon yourself to be loved, and you don't harden yourself to be protected. You stay, fully, quietly. This is when attraction stops being exhausting because you are no longer negotiating your worth in every interaction. You understand something fundamental. The right people are not convinced, they recognize. Recognition happens when energy aligns, not when effort increases. And alignment requires patience, not waiting passively, but living fully while allowing life to meet you where you are. There is a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you will be okay regardless of outcomes. That confidence does not chase, it does not cling, it does not panic, it stays open. And openness, paired with self-respect, is irresistible. As this episode comes to a close, I want to leave you with this reflection. You are not here to be chosen by everyone. You are here to be fully yourself, so the right connections can find you without confusion. Attraction is not about becoming more, it is about becoming more you. When you stop forcing outcomes, life responds differently. People arrive, moments unfold, and what is meant for you stays. Thank you for staying with me through this deep exploration on Annie Podcast. If this episode resonated with you, take it slowly. Let it sink in. You don't need to act on anything right now. Sometimes the deepest shifts happen in silence. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, stay grounded, stay open, and trust your presence.